So this morning I want to show you some clips that went missing from the previous video, and it was a clip that was actually very special to me. I thought it would make the whole video, and I want to tell you then a story, and want to tie it into permaculture, but let me show you the clip first. How much is it? $2. Can I get one? Please. $2. Yes, sir? Is $2? Kan ek by jou koop? Can I buy from you? Ja. Milies, wat verkoop hier jyne? Milies, wat is hier binne? Milies. Is lekker. En daai? Okay, kan ek jyne kry? Ah, lekker. Dankie. Ah. And so that was me buying imaginary maize and imaginary meat from these two kids that were running around in the township. When they went around the corner, I asked the parents, what are they doing? And they said, no, they are pretending to sell maize, mealies, and they are pretending to sell meat. So I said, well, I would really want to buy from them, so let me do that. And a couple of things stood out. First, the parents were very confused about me wanting to buy imaginary things from kids. They're not used to participating in the imaginary games. Whenever the kids want to do imaginary things, they do them by themselves. I was like that as well. So my story was, my kids were standing on this little platform, and I went to go and pick them up, and just before I reached them I turned to the side and I pretended to pick something else up. And just because I play weird games with my kids, but I never thought about the imaginary thing. I knew they had teddies, teddy bears and things like that, which I never had growing up. Anyway, so my kids have got teddy bears, and that's part of the imagination and so on. But I picked up this imaginary person, and I said, who are you picking up? And I said, this is Pity, like Peter in our language. This is Pity. And they went along with it, and so we all of a sudden had this imaginary person called Pity, and I carried him like a child, and eventually, you know, it became a burden. So I placed him in my top shirt pocket. I had pockets like this, and this went on for weeks. Whenever I wore a shirt with a pocket, they would take Pity out and play with him and put him back, and I got worried. And so when I said, listen, Pity left, I got worried about my kids turning into Calvin and Hobbes from Calvin from Calvin and Hobbes kind of thing, where this takes over their whole lives, because it was like serious this imaginary person called Pity that lived in my top pocket. And so I said, I'm sorry, Pity left, I can't find him anymore. And they were in a state. And my wife pulled me to the side. She's like, what the hell are you doing? How can you just let Pity leave? You have to bring him back. You know, they will get over it. It's a phase, you know, just bring him back. And so I called him closer, and I took Pity out of my pocket, and I said, I was just kidding. I was just kidding. Yes, Pity. And they looked at my hand, and I cried. That's not Pity! That's not Pity! And so I was terrified, because not only was Pity now gone, all of a sudden somebody else that I didn't know lived in my pocket. And so that was my funny imaginary friend story. I actually forgot the main part of the story of the kids playing around, but I want to tie the story into permaculture. So there's a couple of things that's important to me is play with kids. Get down on their level. So when you play with a child, get down so your eyes are level with his as much as possible. Obviously you can't do it all the time because you get tired, but it makes it a lot more fun for them when you get down. And my father used to play with us a lot, and I never knew this was his way of doing it, but he got down on our level played with us physically like this, and he only mentioned it when I had kids. He said, listen, get down on the level when you want to play with them. That's how you play with kids. If they are lying on the carpet, you lie on the carpet as well. The other thing is, don't think imaginary things are stupid. There's so much power in happening in our imagination that if you can develop an imagination in a child, you can accomplish a lot. The last thing is that I think training kids might be the future on how we introduce permaculture to the world. I'm not a Roman Catholic, but the Roman Catholics said, one of those high priests said, if you can give me a child for the first 8 years, then he's mine forever. So if you can have children involved in your everyday permaculture life just for the first 8 years, it's something that will stick with them forever. And now, really, that is the end of my story. Have a wonderful day.